Good evening. I'm District Secretary Nancy Gamble Hatfield. Today is November 20th, 2012, and this is a regular board meeting of the Dublin San Ramon Services District Board. Presiding this evening is President Reg Hopkett.
Thank you, Nancy. I'll call the meeting to order, and we will move on to pledge the flag.
And I'll have the gentleman in the audience start us off. You, in the front row.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for doing that for us. All righty, roll call, please.
Director Howard.
Here.
Director Von Peter-Leopold.
Here.
Vice President Benson. Here. President Hopkett.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4, special announcements and activities.
Yes, President Helke and members of the board, we have a new employee that we would like to introduce to the board. And I think Vicki Goldman will handle that, introduce Letitia Rowe.
You already did it. Thank you very much for the opportunity to introduce our newest member of our team. Letitia Rowe joined customer services about 7 months ago. We're very pleased that she could join us and have an opportunity to meet you.
Awesome, welcome to the district.
Welcome.
Any other special announcements or activities?
No, other than to welcome some special guests, the Boy Scouts, welcome to the board meeting, and Director-elect Duarte, welcome to the meeting as well.
Excellent. All righty, moving on to item 5, public comment. Meeting open to the public. This is where we receive comment on items not on the agenda. I have no blue cards, and I don't see a hue and a cry for speakers, so we will move on. We'll close this item and move on to item 6, 6A. Reports by General Manager and the staff.
Yes, President Helke and members of the board, a few things for your calendar. December 2nd, which is a Sunday evening, will be the annual lighting of the Christmas tree, the Lights in the Valley ceremony by Hope Hospice, but it will be a little bit different this year. There will not be a ceremony here at this district office. Actually, the ceremony will be at the Shannon Community Center, but our tree will still be decorated for the holidays on behalf of Hope Hospice. So if you're interested in attending that event, I think you should all have invitations. If you don't, let Nancy know, but it'll be at Shannon, so don't show up here on a Sunday night like you have in the past. Secondly, you'll notice, and we kind of covered this a little bit, Vicki Goldman is sitting in for Lori Rose tonight, and Gary is sitting in for Dave Requa. Both Lori and Dave are on vacation, and Mary, it's good to have you back after the Easter.
Thank you. Feel like a new employee.
And as long as I have the floor, I'd like to wish the board and your families a happy Thanksgiving. I think this is the last time we'll be together before that holiday. In terms of correspondence from the board, there's been four items I'd like to put in the record. They're all kind of interrelated, so if you'll just bear with me for a minute. They're all email. The first one is an email from Laura S. To Dawn Benson, November 7, 2012, regarding meetings and minutes related to the Personnel Committee. The second item is Director Benson's response to Laura S. November 8th regarding the meetings and minutes of that committee meeting. The third item is an email from Laura S. to the entire board, but really focusing on an item that was on the Finance Committee meeting last week. Subject is today's Finance Committee meeting and water rate study. And lastly, there's a response back technically from myself to Laura S. responding, but I responded on behalf of the Board of Directors So that email went out today, November 20th. So thank you for that. And I would also note, and hi Raphael, we have a second new employee we'd like to have an opportunity to introduce you to, and Dan Lopez will do those honors.
I'd like to introduce Rafael Ramos. He's our new fleet mechanic, comes to us from East Bay Regional Parks District. He's been there for 15 years. A lot of experience. He was the lead mechanic for the swing ship, and he's been with us now for about 3 months, and we're happy to have him aboard.
Welcome to the district.
Thank you.
Excellent.
And if I could, for Letitia and Raphael, you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but there's no obligation to stay. You probably have family or friends here, so nobody will be keeping score how long you stay.
Thank you for that.
And that's all I have.
All righty, moving on to item 6B, committee reports. I have 3 in front of me: personnel, wastewater, and finance. If you're acceptable to members of the committee who were there, anything to expand or subtract, otherwise we'll accept them. All right. Moving on to agenda management. Actually, I'm gonna reserve the right to wait till 9A, and then I'll do a little bit of agenda managing. Okay, item 7, approval of minutes, regular board meeting of November 6th, 2012. Move for approval. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Okay, moving on to item 8, consent calendar. These items are taken as a whole typically, unless somebody desires otherwise. I have 8A and B on calendar. I have a motion.
I'll move the approval.
I have a
I'll
motion.
second.
I have a second. We share well around here. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. All right, item 9A, consider appeal of water bill by the Little Kids Learning Center in the amount in excess of board policy. And this one goes, it's financial services manager, but I suspect
Yeah,
wants to handle this one.
I'll handle this one tonight in Lori's absence. And this will be quick. President Helke and members of the board, earlier today, we learned that Mrs. Naw, who's the owner of the Little Kids Learning Center, is out of the country and will not be returning until the middle of next week. While this item is properly agendized for the board to take action, if that were your pleasure tonight, my recommendation would be to just carry over the matter until our December 3rd meeting, assuming that we can verify that Mrs. Naw will be here and can accommodate that schedule. And that, as a result, you take no action on this tonight. You're free to take action, of course, or to discuss it, but that would be my recommendation, given her absence.
The only thing I would suggest is try to, because if I understand right, collections are in abeyance right now. They have been in abeyance for a while. So try to get her here on the 2nd, the 3rd, or the 18th. And if we can't get her here on the 3rd or the 18th, I think we take it on the 18th and let's run with it. Because, I mean, I really don't want to see this thing just go into perpetual stall
I
mode.
agree. I agree too.
So let's get it finished this year. Offer both those dates, and if she can make the 3rd, we'll do the 3rd. If she can make the 18th, we'll do it then. If she can't make either one, put it back on the 18th, please.
Okay, will do. Understood.
Okay, now it's time to do a little agenda management. Because with the postponement, I don't want to say that word, what is the magic words? With the action or lack of action on 9A, we will not need 11A. And
Do we have to formally table 9A since it?
No, we don't want you to
Okay.
table.
that's the word I was trying to, there's certain words that
Okay.
if I say,
Procedurally, that creates a lot of complication.
if I say certain words, then Carl throws things at me, and I really don't want that. And, the same direction for 11A, just have that go lockstep with 9A, have a thing. All right, and then briefly, I've got 11B and C on here, which is a closed session item. It's pretty informational, and the memo was very well written, I think pretty thorough. So unless anybody has feedback or actually wants to discuss it with the general manager, I'm certainly satisfied just with the information I have now, and I suppose we don't go out and come back and have to do the finance meeting, do them all over.
No,
Is that acceptable?
I'm fine.
I agree.
All right.
I agree.
So I will,
I have one question for the gentleman. This is our lawyer, this is our legal counsel, this is Carl, so he kind of keeps us all legally during our meetings, so just in case you guys know.
all right, now we're going to have board member items, which is item 10, and I'm going to say one real quick before I hand it to everybody else. I do apologize to the gentleman who came to see us, because this may be the single most boring meeting we've had probably the last 3 months. We had a good item for you. 9A was going to be fun, but it got postponed. So and with that, I will wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and then I will pass it to Pat.
I have no items other than that we had an election, and congratulations to Ed. And I want to thank also Scott for showing up and giving us a good run for our money. It's good to see people interested in this line of work, and so I thank Scott as well. So anyway, here we are.
Here. Virginia, anything?
I have a couple of things. I went to the Alameda County Special Districts Association meeting last week at Oraloma. Our guest speaker was Senator Ellen Corbett. She gave us an update of what is not happening in Sacramento, and announced that she's running for Congress in the next election. So Eric already has his first opponent. But it's kind of interesting. The general manager, Jason Warner, gave a little update on the size of Oraloma, and I did not realize myself the size. They serve 135,000 residents. So it's a fairly big special district. But other than that, the other thing was, of course, they paid a little tribute to Harry Francis, and I did go to his services on Friday. It's always nice when the priest or the congregant, the person that's giving the service, actually knows the person, because there's it's a different kind of piece of information, and he was very touched because apparently Harry had been very active in things that the priest himself had been active in. They played on a senior softball league for years. But small world number 9,012,000, Jeff Hayes was there, and it turns out that his wife's uncle is married to Harry's wife. One of those things. The 6 degrees of separation always fascinates me. So at least I had somebody sit down and talk to, because there wasn't too many people I knew. But they're also then having a reception sort of at Oraloma on the 4th of December at Castro Valley Sanitary District at 5:30 for the board. But that's all.
Excellent.
Couple things. First of all, I'd like to welcome Troop 905, and we have Alex Jew, Josh Miranda, and Sean Bukamaki. So thanks, gentlemen, for coming with Mrs. Marianne Jew, who happens to also be my carpool person. So these scouts are also in the shack back in the back. So they're here for their citizenship in the community merit badge. So they're supposed to attend a public meeting and also kind of explain some of the issues that went on. So maybe I'll give them my packet for Mrs. Noah so they can kind of look at, there's some controversial good stuff in there.
Just be sure to pass all the envelopes.
Oh, no. Also, I'd like to welcome Ed Duarte. I'm very excited that he's going to be joining the board. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and also I'd like to thank Sue and her staff and everybody, all staff, for putting on the neighborhood wastewater meeting, and that was back at the end of October. I failed to mention that last time, but it was well done, it was well attended, and I think it was a great presentation by the landscape gentleman, and it was well received as well. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That dispenses with item 10. We've got 11, A, B, and C. There are no closed sessions that we went to, so there's no report from closed session. So that brings us to item 13, which is adjournment. Thank you all for coming. And adjourn.
Hold on, guys.
No, they're fine. Okay. All right, so I do have one announcement before we move on to our last piece of business here. All right. So we have a pro forma meeting here for the DSRSD Finance Corporation every once a year. And thank you to the City of Bell. I get to read this lovely piece of prose drafted by Carl Nelson, Esquire. The Board of Directors of the DSRSD Finance Corporation is composed of the same members of the Board of Directors of the district. Accordingly, newly enacted Government Code Section 54952.3 requires that I announce, prior to convening the meeting of the Board of the DSRSD Finance Corporation, that no director will receive any compensation or stipend for participating in that meeting, as specified in DSRSD Policy P100-09-2, day of service.
Well done.
All righty, so with that, I will call to order the DSRSD Financing Corporation meeting. And we have already pledged a flag today, so I think we can dispense with that item. And let's, for fun, let's have a roll call, Nancy. Let's just do the whole thing.
Director Howard,
Still here?
Director Volunteer Leopold,
Here.
Vice President Benson,
Present.
President Tompkins.
And I am here. Public comment.
We lost our public.
All righty, so let's move on to item 5, approval of minutes. Let's approve the annual meeting minutes of the meeting from November 15th, 2011.
I will move for approval of minutes.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed. Item 6, new business, none. Board member items is not on here, but I'm going to check. Oh,
Didn't we talk about this like maybe a year or so ago about disbanding?
We disbanded the DSRSD Union Sanitary District Joint Powers Authority financing vehicle. That's been accomplished. This financing corporation was in existence related to one of the bond issues that the district has, and we'll be following up with Lori Rose to see if, given all the refinancings we've done over the last 3 years, whether there's a continuing need for this organization or not on a going forward basis.
and might I add, if there's not a continuing need, let's agendize dispensing with this thing post haste.
Fine, new business.
Awesome. All righty, that's item 6. It's the most of item 6 we've had in like 3 years. That's wonderful. All right.
Good question.
And I think we can safely move on to item 7, which is adjourn the meeting.
Yeah. She stalled as best she could. That's all.
Very good.
Thank you, Gary.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Traffic out there is I started over the overpass at about 25 to 6. I said, this isn't working because it took me 3 changes of the